Well, hello everybody, and welcome to yet another new edition of the Inworld Review. This is a program where we're sort of based in on platforms operate with open sim software, and all the grids are connected by something called the hypergrid, or at least those that want to be. Hence we are a hypergrid-based program looking at all the destinations, arts, worlds, etc., that are available to you on the hypergrid, and sometimes some standalone ones in Open Simulator too. Right. That said, my name is Mal Burns, and that's all you need to know. Sitting next to me on my right is James Atlloud. He's the one who's always sitting somewhere, but more importantly for this show, he's fiddling with a lot of knobs. Well, in a manner of speaking, video, audio, etc. He's mixing them all together and, as I say, having great fun with his knobs. Thank you, James.
Oh, you bet, Mal. Glad to be here.
On my other side, my left-hand side, is our wonderful co-host, Thirza Ember, about whom I can say everything, but probably best to say nothing. Welcome, Thirza.
Say nothing. Say nothing, Mal. It's safer. Just the only thing you need to say is that I don't sound like Barry White anymore. So
Yes,
I'm sorry about that.
I was going to remark on the fact that you're.
I still kind of look like him apparently in real life, but let's
Really?
not say any more about that.
Barry White. I know you've lost the huskiness in your voice for sure. How can you look Barry White?
Anyway,
I don't know.
very
I think
glad to
I
be
could
here.
give you
Thank
some.
you.
I could give you some competition on that, Thirza. I think I look like a troll. So
Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh dear!
Sorry about that.
Okay, and we'll be introducing them more fully a little bit later, but we've also got two guests in the studio, both of whom come from a grid called Neverworld, which I don't know if I've got to ask the two of you first. Do you know of an artist called Richard Corbin?
No.
No, he had a graphic novel called Neverworld, and I always think of when I see your name.
Yeah.
No, just coincidence. Anyway, yes, representing the grid and their projects, etc. We've got Govega Sachertorte. I should have tested this one. You shouldn't I? Govega Sachertorte.
Soccer tour.
Okay, I wasn't even close, was I?
It's a cake, an Austrian cake, famous in Vienna. It was my LinkedIn name, so
He got the
very
Govega
cool.
right. What more do you want?
Yeah, all I need is Govega. It's just
yeah, he did very well with that.
Oh dear. Now how am I going? Oh well, I think I can handle Nexus Storm. Welcome, Nexus.
Yay.
Hi, Mel.
Hey.
Hi, all.
That bit is easy. I can't say it
Yes.
wasn't quite as easy getting you on Discord, but that's another matter. Okay, well, welcome to both of you. We'll come back to you in a few minutes. We're just going to be doing a quick roundup of basic hypergrid news first of all. Why does my phone decide to ping at exactly the wrong times? Never mind. Right. Okay, to the news. Now, on screen behind me, for the benefit of James, who will be bringing it on air to you, I've got two posts this week from Hypergrid Business, which actually covers a lot more than Hypergrid these days. In fact, it doesn't cover too much on the Hypergrid at all, but this week they are relevant. The first post from Friday, I think it is from David Karuki. Basically reporting that OpenSim land area is up. The number of public grids has hit a record high. And particularly Avatar Live, DigiWorld's Dream Grid, Kitely, Neverworlds, plural. I think they've got that wrong. What's new with Hypergrid Business?
Yeah.
One Live Grid, Errors Grid, and whoa, I love this one, Piggy Bank Grid World.
Piggy Bank
Oh,
Grid
we
World.
must go and visit Piggy Bank Grid.
Oh, piggy bank. Oh,
Yeah.
nice. But I must admit, I misread that as the number of pubic grids that had increased. And I was thinking there's a lot of erotic content. That could be.
I did see a typo like that, and I often make that one too, but instead of public. But no, just a piggy bank grid. So
Sorry.
not
Yes.
it's public and pubic are the ones I confuse sometimes. uh,
What kind of grid is a piggy bank world?
well, I don't know. That's
I hope
we-
it's
we-
not like a crypto coin kind of thing.
Might be. You could be
Yeah.
right.
No, there's
Or-
yeah.
It has money on it that you can go and like. You have to go on this car course and you collect
Oh,
coins or
cool.
something.
So it's like a game then.
No, I didn't do it. Well, there's bits like that in there. I need to
Do
explore
you have
it
to
more.
smash your avatar at the end to get the money out of it? Is that how that works? Like you do with the piggy bank, you hit it with a hammer.
I would actually add that on our Hypergrid Explorers Creators Discord server this week, I did introduce a virtual piggy bank style grid. It's hyper tokens, and you get like it's like UBI. You get 50 hyper tokens as a stipend every day. But it doesn't have any real world value yet. It would be up to the group to give it that at a later stage. But what it means is that you can have, say, an avatar that makes clothing and an avatar that's a musician. And the musician needs a nice costume to appear on stage with. So it could be a straight swap, or the clothing maker could say, well, my costume is worth 400 hyper tokens. And the musician could say, "Oh, but I'm actually going to pay you 500 hyper tokens because it's so good." So one side,
Yeah, that's not going to happen. No musician has ever overpaid for anything.
no. But I'll give you an example. It's highly implausible as an example, but basically it means that instead of doing a natural swap, it may the two may agree that there's some tokens hanging around that they can use later. And you get 50 to spend every day anyway. So
That's cool.
The idea is it's like UBI. You can't hang on to it. If you get rich, you'll be kicked down.
That's like on Japan Open Grid. They sell stuff, but if you're a member of the grid, they're like ATM machines, and you can just get more money when you need it.
Yeah,
but it's just they kind of have a fake economy just because some people like that sensation.
This because it's on my Discord server. It's hypergrid wide. It actually goes beyond that. So it goes. Philip Rosedale's son is running it on another server, but it's all open. It's like it may become an app at some point, but the exchange is limited to the people at the moment that are in a particular group using the bot, if you see what I mean. The bot mints your stipend every day, and then it burns excess coins or tokens, I should say. It's complicated, but it works actually. So it finally went public on Friday, so I was allowed to put it in there up, as it were. If I will come to that on another program, in fact, when I can explain it easier. But basically, it's a series for trade. It's a exchange and trading mechanism that crosses the whole hypergrid, the whole of OpenSim. Anybody who's in our Discord server can use it. And obviously, if somebody sells the dress, for example, for so many tokens, they've still got to deliver it and send it in world to the particular avatar. But the system is based on Discord. That's where all the...
Yeah, I'm curious to hear more. Yep.
Yes, indeed. Well, there's various help files up there in the relevant... if anybody is on our Hypergrid server already, the first thing you need to do is mail me on the Hypergrid server and ask me to put you in the enterprise role. Thirza, you're in it already, actually. For the hell of it, because you're a moderator. And then you have to then you actually have to go to the shared channel, and you have to type the /join. And once you're joined, you have to be endorsed by the members, which is no problem at the moment. And after that, you then get your allowance every day to spend. So it should.
I'm going to start hoarding. I like the sound of hyper tokens.
It
sounds like very excited pennies, doesn't it? You can just imagine jiggling.
I'm actually on their main server, and I haven't spent any money since it was set up. And the whole idea is that you're not meant to hoard, but yeah, there's still a
Oh, all
few
right.
things to work out because you can't. It's not really at the moment. You can be on two separate servers that run the boss, and you get a stipend from both of them. Whereas that's very contrary to the UBI idea. In the future, you'll only be able to get a stipend, daily stipend from one server with the boss on, not all of them. But yes, it's a good idea because OpenSim does not have any OpenSim currency. There are Globits, there are Kitely, there are thingy. Well, not Globits. What's the
Podex.
Codex. Yeah.
Podate, yeah.
Yeah.
But and you know some certain grids use these services, but this isn't any kind of virtual coin. It's the exact opposite of Bitcoin because they hate Bitcoin. It's a trading system, and it's not really capitalism, put it that way. But anyway, we'll move on. We'll have a whole thing about that at some point. So we're still on hypergridbusiness.com, hypergridbusiness.com. And the first post here is just a roundup of land area up, public grids up, etc., etc., posted later in the week. And another link I have for the same site, which again is news, is that this chat GPT thing. It's funny, Maria Koloff, who has this site, she has one post somewhere telling you to be very careful and not to use this GPT stuff. Then she has another post telling you how to use it. Please, where are we going here? But apparently she's discovered that, well, there's no discovery.
Did she? Hold on a minute, Mal. Or did she? Maybe the
What?
chat GPT wrote that second post saying how to use it. Wait a minute.
Possibly, yes, possibly. It turned round to her and said, I don't like your treatment of me. I'm going to write something for you. So Microsoft, of course, introduced this about a week ago with their Bing thing, and then everybody overdid it. And apparently Bing lost its mind because it was having to work too much. They were overworking it. It just dropped dead and started spewing out stuff. That, Bing has been sent to the asylum now. Until it can talk sense again. Now, anyway, apparently you can write LSL, including OSSL, which is the OpenSim equivalent. I'm not quite sure how it works, but it's a script. I know there are. Yeah, it's something like all this. You can get the script basically and download it or paste it. Well, you paste it into an object, and you can run the script in OpenSim because it's OSSL or OSL commands. And obviously, the GP, whatever it is, can do the hard work for you, creating the script. So I want a script that does this, and it turns it up for. I want a script that animates Malbones properly. And it will promptly provide you with a ball, which you turn upside down and twist a little bit. We better get on with the show, but you can see where I'm going there, can't you?
Yes.
Right, okay, I have a few other pages, but they're actually for later on when we get to, the Safari blog, as it were. Right, so moving over here, Thirza has a couple of extra things for us today. We're not doing a Hypergrid Happenings because we've only got one slide to show, but we've got a little bit of information about Cornflakes Week and a video to show you too. So over to you, Thirza, to just give us a roundup.
Yes, this final week of February is Cornflakes Week. We started doing this back in 2015. The idea is that it's an entirely OpenSim event. The idea is that around the world there are many different festivals and events. Some of them are religious, some of them are connected to a particular culture or country. For example, in the United States, everybody celebrates pretty much Thanksgiving, but that's a meaningless thing if you go to Europe. Nobody knows the date. They don't really care about it. There are other festivals that we have, for example, in Europe or in Australia that maybe nobody in America is familiar with. So the idea was to come up with a festival that is genuinely open sim. And it's kind of based in and around the creations of Cornflakes Woodcock, who was a very early adopter of OpenSim. He passed away some years ago, and but he left his creations basically for people to enjoy. They're very silly, they're funny, they're primmy, they're bright colours, and they're kind of witty. So the idea is that every year there should be a Cornflakes Week. So it's a whole week. People can celebrate any way they like. It was similar to the way people celebrate Christmas in many different ways. Not everybody has to do the same exact thing. So parties for the whole last week of February can be held. And in the past, it's happened on many grids. More recently, fewer grids, but OS Grid always celebrates it. And in fact, this year, if you look at the poster there, the yellow poster, they have 3 events. One is on the 22nd, then again on Friday the 24th, and then on Saturday the 25th. And they do a really nice thing on OS Grid that they try and remember anybody who we've lost during the year, which is a really nice feature of the way they handle it. The Safari always has a Cornflakes event too, and we're going to be having 2 parties, one on Nick's Breen's sim, which is kind of full of bubbles and so forth. And the other half of the event will be on Wixtropia, where Cutie Olala has that new music machine. On Nix's sim, which is the first hour, we will have live music with Whirly Placebo will be playing. So it's going to be a great event. And I think Mal has a video of the 2017 event where we went to a bunch of different grids over the whole week.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, that will be also just a reminder that's this coming Wednesday, and we have Hypergrid Safari every Wednesday. We meet in the clubhouse on OS Grid at noon Pacific time. Who knows what that is elsewhere? And best to get there a bit early because you can pick up your note card with the landmarks, and then
That's when all the gossip happens beforehand. No, I'm just kidding.
beforehand. Yeah. And yeah, I'm going to go in search of Rice Krispies week. Actually,
Why not?
why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to be. I should add too, the slightly somber note, the obituary section, as it were. It's going to be pretty heavy this year. It's been a sad year. We've lost quite a lot of major
That's true.
operators.
That's true. But generally speaking, the idea is just to have some fun,
Oh,
and
of
it's
course,
that
yeah.
kind of dead period. It's kind of it interacts a lot with carnival time, but the
Right.
idea is this is really nothing to do with religion or culture beyond
Yeah.
open sim. So just pure silliness for 7 days at the end of February.
I like the
I
bit
don't
on-
know if you guys over in Neverworld have ever been involved with it or familiar with this. Are you?
No,
Govega?
really, I've seen it
not.
around, but no, we've never done anything.
Well, maybe next year we can
Yeah.
rope you guys in. I bet you'd come up with some really imaginative stuff.
Sounds like fun.
Indeed. Yeah, well, as the sign says, sort of be silly, dress silly, I think it said, didn't it? Yes.
Pretty much.
Be silly, dress silly. So we'll be having great fun on Wednesday, along with some music from Worley. Right, okay. Well, I've also got, it's on its title screen at the moment. This is actually a Safari's record of Cornflakes Week back in 2017. God, that's unbelievable. It's 5 or
I know.
before the pandemic or anything, but it's we thought we'd actually play this to get into the feel of the thing before Wednesday, so to speak. So here we go.
So the safari is always on a Wednesday. And so it happened that the 22nd was on a Wednesday, just like it is this year. So kind of starting off, we went to Cornflakes Tribute Sim, which exists over on Scripted Magic now. And that's where all Cornflakes items, which are all prim-based, are still available. You can grab them from Word from the Wise, who was a friend of Cornflakes. But as you can see, each grid that chose to be involved, they have their own style. There's no kind of limits to how you have to do it. It's just an idea to kind of all it's come together, and not in any kind of national way or religious way, but just in an open sim way. And that year, I managed to get to, I think, all the parties, which is not it's not usually possible for me, but it was a fun year. I don't remember seeing James at any of these parties. I'm sure he was sitting on something that I didn't notice.
I know Dennis has been at some of the cornflakes
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Safari, whether it was this one 6-7 years ago. I don't know really.
Yeah,
I was
that's
there
OS
last
Grid
year, but
party.
not all the
That's
parties,
the
right?
question.
The OS Grid, that was Avia Bond. She constructed an amazing thing. Do you remember? Wow.
I still have the film from last year's as well, which we were.
Yeah, last year, Cherry Manga very kindly,
In
she
fact, I
built
think-
a fantastic thing for us,
In fact, when
which
we
is
did
still
the
up
review
above
of the
our
year,
sim.
amazing,
Yeah,
yeah.
she is. She's
when
a
we did the
sweetheart.
review of the year, I think we chose her as one of the sorts of winners.
Because she said to me, well, I don't know, because it's a very primary colors thing. It's very primmy. I don't know if I want to get involved. And then she kind of took it on and just transformed it and made it her own. So that was great.
I would tend to go with
as
that
you can
actually,
see-
because if somebody had asked me to do something in that style of Cornflakes Week, from what I've seen of the, as you say, the primary colour and the sparse sims that you could go to, I would have thought, this really isn't my thing. But as you say, Cherry just transformed it into something unique.
Exactly. Yeah. And as you can see, everybody came up with their own outfits. One or two of the avatars you see, like these two, those are original creations by Cornflakes that I made into actual avatars that you can wear. So
Wow. That's cool.
it's just preemie stuff, but it's really fun, and it is our heritage. You know, if we think of OpenSim as a real place, then we need to protect our heritage, really. And renew it and make it fresh. And this was the last place we went to, Belfast. I couldn't talk Steo into doing anything more cornflakesy than putting a bowl of cornflakes on the bar. And he's a very classic Northern Irish
goodness.
guy.
All
And
right.
it's like, that's it. But these were wonderful guys over on Next Life, who I absolutely adore. This was the finale that they did. And it was just such fun, because it kind of coincided with a festival that they have in Germany. So it's perfect timing. It kind of married the two things together. And there's George dancing like a crazy person. But as you can see, this is the idea. It's colors. Everybody does what they want, but it's kind of uniting us in our diversity. That's really the theme.
And there we have all the destinations from that year and all the credits, basically. Okay. Yeah, so what, 6-7 years ago? I'm not even sure. I must have been on there somewhere, but yeah. Oh, and truly telling as well. And the dozens of people who got silly this year. I love it. And there it goes. Oh, well, that's quite a nice little bit of reminiscing there. So yeah, good on that.
Yes,
one.
really looking forward to this year. Whirly's singing for us again. He did last year as well, and he has in the past too, going back a couple of other years. So it's going to be great.
All right. Okay, well, let's move back to our guests, Nexus and Govega. No surnames required anymore, I think. That's anyway. We have some film that I took, just randomly jumped to 4 places and took a bit of film. But since then, I've actually been given a promo for Neverworld Grid. Now, this I've got to admit, I think we'll start with the promo because it's going to give everybody an idea of the vastness of the grid. It lasts about 5 minutes, but I swear this looks like it's a 2-hour film that you sped up.
Yes, yes, exactly. One of our Gundahar Bravin, one of our long-time members, is a videographer, and he did this, and he did squash hours and days of wandering around the grid and sped it up. That's exactly what he did.
Yeah. I
It's
must
literally
admit,
only covered about 10% of the grid as well. It's just
Wow.
the grid's so big.
I
It's
was getting. I've probably chosen exactly the wrong places where I landed, wherever they were. But yeah, there's. It actually made me dizzy, the speed of it. The nice actually at some point. Well, you'll see what I mean. Maybe at
yeah,
some point you should release a slower version, or like an hour documentary, which
yes,
maybe
yes.
is the best way, because it is wonderful stuff. But we're going to see that now. I'm going to click on it, and there's your logo. That's the most boring bit. Then we get to the second bit, which is where the pictures move.
It's
Let's have a
not boring. It's beautiful. It's calming. Look
I
at
know
that.
it
You
is.
see,
I'm joking. No, I proved the point. I've actually got another version of it here. There you are. Which
there we go. That's
I
pretty. Look
clipped
at
that
that.
Beautiful.
actually. Yeah. So that's the version I clipped for for the talk. But now we'll get back to the actual thing, which is I better just shut up and let it play, haven't I? Here we go.
This is one of our galleries.
Ooh.
Actually, the photographs in here is my real life daughter does digital art,
Oh,
so it's all her
wow.
stuff.
How
Mhm,
nice.
mhm.
Gosh, I
And
couldn't
here,
see
This is
that.
good.
this is our crazy. We have an integrated road system uh, that's just crazy. Nexus built it. I mean, he built it from scratch. He made the mesh. He put it down. He textured everything. Um,
I tried to make a road system that is interactive so people can change the textures on it rather than just one texture,
Oh,
and it
wow. What a good
covers all
idea.
possibilities.
That's neat.
this is Sunset Coast, so it's an interactive with watercraft and ocean engineering from Kitely. A lot of his stuff is in there. This is Thunder Snow, Aris Hollistar, who's a wonderful scripter, NPC maker. He has
That's the
a
guy from Australia, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
good.
I
He
see what you
does
mean about the roads changing, the textures changing. That's really
yes, yes,
clever.
exactly. This is Jade Bay, which is a zombie swamp. So all these places have parcels, by the way, that anybody can rent for free from anywhere. Um,
It's neat.
yeah,
Well,
this
it
is
felt
all part of our continent. This is our welcome. This is our drama llama. No drama llama.
Does he eat the drama? What happens?
Yeah. He boots out somebody who starts complaining, they're out.
That is a very good plan.
Yeah, we were decorated for Valentine's Day. This is Homestead, Welcome Homesteads, right out off of Welcome for newcomers. And all our parcels are free, and all our parcels are really generous in
So
size and
explain to me this. I know there's the continent, which is kind of a newer thing, but then you have a bunch of other regions, obviously, as well. So how does that work? Do you have residents, long-time residents, who are building the other Sims, or do they share their land with anybody who comes along? How do you make that work?
So yeah, we have residents that have their own Sims, have had their own Sims for years. They want to be, most people want to be far away, but when it comes down to it, even though everybody says they want to be far away, we find that most people actually want to be in a community, in a neighborhood. So that's what we kind
Yeah.
of, our expertise comes in making neighborhoods. This is an undersea laboratory that Tom in VR has made. That's in the Keys. So the Keys is now, so the continent, we started building, I guess, about maybe last summer, and it's still being built. And we had the basic Sims that we wanted for that, but we've also added on a lot of satellite Sims to it. So we have the Keys, which is a direct replica of the Florida Keys. That is it's an 11 by 11 in size, and it's all navigable water. All the islands can all be rented. There's cities, there's towns, there's campgrounds, and
So between you guys with the Florida Keys and the guys over on Hyacinth Grid who got basically the whole of California,
right,
and at a certain point the whole of America is going to be Inworld. That's pretty cool. All the
the good
coolest
part.
parts.
So
I love the fact that you say it's an 11 by 11, which just proves what you can do with the VAR files. I mean, you can start replicating real size, presumably, can't you?
exactly.
Yeah.
So the keys we've had for a few years actually, and it's still being developed, but we did actually attach it to the continent. The eastern part of the continent, we have Miami, we have Biscayne Bay, which is a houseboat region, and they're now all attached to the keys. So it's almost like you can go real time, and all this is all connected by roads. So you can drive from, and
That's cool.
Nexus even made, I mean, we have a lot of a freeway that goes east to west across the continent. The continent is 59 2x2 grid, 2x2 regions, 59 of them.
Wow.
And
God, that's
growing. But the whole
240. Never mind.
Yeah, it's not
That's
even.
huge.
Yeah, it is. It's huge, and it's still being developed. So we've attached some of our really popular shopping sims to the continent, and we always have people on it. So and especially Nexus has been really full-time developing this, building the. I do actually have a terraforming little program from Ocean Engineering that I've been using to kind of make each sim kind of go into each other. But we do have, in the north, we have some snow sims. In the south, we have tropical sims. We have a lot of urban sims, which another thing that Nexus is an expert at. And I think we can talk a little bit. Well, I guess when we go through the slideshow, but
I was just thinking actually, before I go to some silent footage and we carry on talking, we might as well just continue as you run us through your own slideshow, which you know how to do, don't you? Just click on the movie.
Sure. So
before you start with the slides, I'm just curious. So how did you guys meet up? How did the Neverworld core group meet up?
Okay, so I was in Osgrid for a few years, and I think I was self-hosting my own regions for a while, and I had a friend there, and he said, I can get a grid started for you in like a few hours. And I was like, really? And I do website. I've always done website designs myself. So he actually set up the original grid, and it was in October 2015. So we've been around for a while. And then it was really just me and him, and I invited some of my friends over, and we started building. And it was Linux, and I don't really do Linux. So I learned, the basics, what I need to do. And then he kind of faded away, this friend, but then I got more and more friends, and it was public. And so I think how Nexus came along is that there were some people who were on, well, Nexus, you can explain how you ended up finding Neverworld.
Well, I was on GCG at the time, and I used to do a lot of building with my friend who sadly passed now, Pasha, and she found Neverworld, and then asked me to come over to Neverworld as well to build over there with her. And I always like building something, and she used to come in afterwards and do all the landscaping and the flowers and the prettification, and so we kind of did a little bit of a team build like that, and that's how I ended up over on Neverworld. It's just a nice low drama no drama place, and it was just gave me the ability to build and just relax. It was
Yeah,
nice.
focus on your creativity and not on the politics. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, Mal used to be on Great Canadian Grid, didn't you? Mel,
Yes, it's a long time ago
back in
now.
the
Yeah,
day.
with Roddy. In fact, yeah,
Mhm.
Roddy approached us. I think it was this show or one of its forerunners. So said, "Do you want a studio space or something?" And we're there for ages, taking
Mhm.
more regions and stuff. And then sadly, it sort of went away, and it also started getting expensive for us. So yeah, but yeah, it was quite fun, and yeah. I don't know how long I was on there because I built a whole story into what was about half a dozen or more Sims. So yeah.
Yeah, I
How
mean,
many
I think.
how many regions did you have to start with, Govega? How many did you start with?
Oh, did we start with? Well, I started with
Mm.
two. I started with a welcome center and a sandbox. So, but then, like I said, I know how to run my own regions. So one of the first things really that I got set up was I wanted people to be able to self-host and attach regions, that they host on their own servers, just like Osgrid does, because I just love that idea of people being part of a community, but also being independent enough to handle
Yeah.
their own, regions and expand and whatever. So I did get somebody to set up that software for us early on. And that's been really quite successful. So, and I actually use it myself. There is a place on our website, which is a page for self-hosting, and there's links there to download the software, and it's free for everybody. And I still use it myself, as I said. So I have added with that software actually my own private, and just kept expanding. And then Locke came along soon after Nexus and Pasha. Then Locke Semaforce. I know you were good friends with him,
Yeah,
Thirza,
absolutely.
um, who's just an amazing builder, an
Yes.
amazing scripter. He's a coder. He's, computer software was his, line of work in real life, and just the nicest guy you could ever imagine. And he came on the grid, and
Absolutely.
yeah, I actually met him in Osgrid, and, told him what I was doing, and he was excited about it. He had a small little grid, and he said, I'll help you with Neverworld. So he was actually uh, our main system admin for 5 years. He was amazing, and we did a lot of things because of him. But one thing we did do is we switched from Linux back to Windows when he came aboard, because he is a Windows programmer, and I had no complaints about that. So we did operate with Windows for a long time, and he about a year ago he retired. So he's no longer doing it, and he's really no longer active on the grid. But he did a lot for us. He was just an amazing builder. And, we've just expanded it. Now, Pasha, who has since passed on and was a wonderful virtual landscape architect, brought
She's
Nexus
also a real
on.
life artist as well. She did some amazing glass work and actually brought her glass work into virtual world and recreated it 100% accurately in virtual world.
Wow.
That can
And can
be
we still
seen in
see that?
Portland. I think it's in
Can we still
Portland
see
Share
this?
still.
Oh my gosh, I got to see that. Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, we still have a few of her Sims up. Crystal Wind is one of them. It has a beautiful, it goes from winter to summer. It has two different Sims. And Portland Share, which was a recreation of Portland, Oregon, and has a lot of freebie shops in there. So Nexus came on, and Nexus was given some of Pasha's Sims to work on. So I think then you started Lucidus, which you can
Yeah.
talk about.
Lucidus, originally the idea of Lucidus started in Second Life, but I developed it very quickly in Inworlds. It's a cyberpunk city, and I finalized the build in GCG. And when I decided to leave GCG, I literally took massive chunks of it in my inventory, because they won't give us all files there, and rebuilt it in Neverworld. Now it's 4 times bigger and joined with Stillwater. It's a massive cyberpunk city,
Wow.
based on, well, all the old cyberpunk films,
Wonderful.
Blade Runner. If you can imagine a dystopian world, just at the start of the sci-fi era. So it's got a cross of sci-fi with the old decay and everything, and it's huge. You can wander around it for hours.
And it's multi-level too. It's, not just on one level. So it's many levels.
And we just incorporated Govega's Stillwater city together. So now it's a twin city, equivalent to 8 SL sims. So 2 by 2.
So you got hours of fun there. Sounds
Oh,
like.
yeah. And then that's not even including Advantus Nexus. So
Yeah. Vantus,
So-
that's next door. That's a full sci-fi city, 1,000 meters up in the sky, and again, another huge build. Very good for photo opportunities.
Sounds like somewhere I should have gone to film if I'd known.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to have you guys come back and show us some film when Mal's been over to see that.
Yeah,
That'd
yeah.
be great.
I've been running some film in the background here. We might come back to it anyway, but just the detail of, like, this is the end frame of one of them. It's an internal building, but it's got foliage and fountains and the ornamental build. I don't know who did this or where it is, given the size of your sim, but it just strikes me as it's video, and I still frame it, and I think, God, that's still frame on its own right.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we just, so many of our sims are just so detailed and multi-level and just beautiful and wonderfully landscaped. And see, our thing is we're not really big on events in Neverworld. We've had people who come, oh yeah, I'm going to start events, I'm going to DJ, you're going to have 5 or 6 events a day. And that's not really what we're about. There's other places that do a lot of dancing clubs, and we have a lot of clubs.
Any of them, yes.
But we are kind of like extroverted introverts who like to be together alone and build. So,
Right.
we're creators, so we like it. We do get together from time to time, but we do like, our solitude and being able to just quietly build. So that's what we
It
do.
does sound very
Creations,
it sounds very atmospheric. So somebody who wanted to make a machinima, for example, and they're looking for a large set to work on.
Oh, yeah,
Your
yeah.
places sound like they would be ideal for that.
Definitely. I mean, we have in Stillwater, which we just redid, just a lot of like set dressing, and we're always looking and thinking for ideas, and just like, because when you think about, and there are some amazing dystopian builds in Second Life, for instance, but think about the scale of them. Maybe at most it'll be a quarter of a sim, and you can cram in a lot in that. But when you're talking about a 2x2 region, there's a lot to fill in, so it does take time.
Yeah. Cherry Manga's got an amazing build on one of her sims on her grid, and that's a lovely dystopian build. I use that for ideas as well.
Did you? Oh, she'll be so thrilled to know that.
I never think of Cherry Manga as dystopian, but never mind.
Yeah, she has her moments.
More surreal then, yeah.
It does have like a lot of avatars that are like kind of like falling apart strings and kind of cool. So yeah, I could see that. Definitely sci-fi. So, and then another thing we did recently was a sim called Freeport, which is I asked Nexus, I'm like, Nexus, how about we do like a steampunk sim? And he had never did one before. And
Oh, wow.
he just did amazing things to it. And, you know, a lot of stuff, like I said, he builds from scratch. So he built some warehouses that were similar to
Albert Dock
Liverpool.
in Liverpool, yeah.
Cool. So I know
Yeah.
you guys have to start showing us your slideshow now.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
before you
I'm
do, can I just ask you one question? So if people want to come and visit Neverworld, obviously it's a very big place, and that can be a bit not confusing, but you can easily miss the thing that you want to find if there's just so much else to look at. So is there like a destination guide or something like that on your website so that people can sort of hone in on the thing that's most interesting to them?
we do have listings of like the continent, which is our big kind of thing right now. So we have, first of all, we have a blog that we try to keep up with pretty religiously. A few times a month at least, we highlight something. We do have pages on our grid that talk about parcels and, you know, interesting places. And we do have an Inworld destination guide that's
Oh,
working
excellent.
with
Oh, really
teleports and
good.
all that.
Ideal.
Yeah, so
Perfect.
and basically, you know, you come onto the grid in the Welcome Center. We do have uh it's like island themed. We do have huts. We have for free parcels, for interesting things to see, basic avatars you can get right there in the Welcome.
Yeah.
And but basically you could pick up landmarks there. So but I do recommend, if anybody is interested, that they do look at the website, they do look at the blogs, because there's hop addresses there, so they can come directly. And of course, anybody can come from anywhere. You know, you don't have to, we have a lot of visitors come see us all the time. So,
We've got
yeah,
a lot of freebie areas.
yes.
It's like Lucidus, big freebie area, Advantis, big freebie area.
Oh, this showing here is the,
Free. Oh, yeah.
this is our Neverworld station. It's kind of like, we wanted to do like an open sim boot camp kind of thing where you learned, you know, how to sit, stand, and whatever. Because actually, believe it or not, some people are coming. Two of my admins on the grid never have even been to Second Life. So, you know, there is a need for some people to learn the basics. This is another beautiful sim that Nexus developed, and it has a working train track, and I think it's 5 different trains you can go on from port to port to see different areas. That's fun. And then we do have a open sim boot camp sim, which we're working on right now. But yeah, I can show you the slideshow if you'd like.
Yes,
this
yes,
point?
carry on. I was just filling our time on the screen there by popping
Yeah.
over to the world and seeing
Thank you.
all the different regions there. But yes,
These
yes,
times-
let's
yep.
go on to the slideshow now. Yeah.
Okay, so Miami has kind of like been there the last month or so. We've been really working on this. It was a 1x1 sim, and so anything that's attached to the continent has to be a 2x2 sim. Just so that they all mesh and so that there's no problem with lag or whatever. So some of our sims that started as a 1x1, we have expanded. Miami was one of the ones. It was a really nice Art Deco shopping area, and we expanded it and we made it into parcels, and it's really having a lot of fun with that right now. We're actually building Art Deco buildings from scratch, and this is just an overview, and these little black boxes are available parcels. Now, most of our parcels in Neverworld are ridiculously big. We have a sim called Mariner's Bay, and it's all islands. And most of the islands are anywhere from 12,000 to 70,000 kilometers, bigger than a standard region. But in Miami, we are on purpose trying to keep it urban, neighborhood-like. So that's what the black boxes are. And of course, it has the integrated road system. This is actually, where is this? I think this is Nexus. Where is this?
Such a big
That's
grid.
not one I built, so I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. So this could be trying to think if it's Aspen Harbor but anyway, it's beautiful. Sorry about that. This right here is, I think this is part of a luster, or, interesting. I did have names on these. Okay.
Stillwater.
This is Stillwater. So Stillwater started, I actually made the original sim. Stillwater is like a post-apocalyptic, actually, I think it's like a series of books. And I had started it, and then we just recently redid the whole sim, and we have this big structure in the back, as you can see, which is like a nuclear reactor. And Nexus did a lot of the buildings. This is Freeport. So this is part of the steampunk sim that we have made. And there's actually a lot of shopping areas here too. Nexus is also an amazing graphic artist. So he did this logo for Freeport.
I'm hoping that we get some role play going actually in the steampunk area.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. In Stillwater, we actually do have a role play group set up. The good, the bad, the people who lived, sort of like Total Recall, the people who live down in the bottom in the murky part of the city, and the posh people who live up at the top. But it's just, finding people to manage all this stuff.
Yeah.
Steampunk really lends itself to roleplay, I think. I mean, I know from Second Life, for example, there's masses of, I don't know, new Babbages and things like that.
Yes.
They're so well known,
Yes.
They're almost a pinnacle. They drown out others, but it seems to be, and in OpenSim too, it seems to be a very attractive sort of style of things. You can't really help but like it. And if you're going to role play, do it in style.
Yes. But wouldn't you like to see more people coming up with a role play story that they can make into a video or a series of videos? I would really love to see that so much more in OpenSim, because it's, as much as it's interesting to sort of be inside a story, and we've been to see world roleplay groups, for example, the German one that's been running for like 15 years between Second Life and OpenSim, and it's nice for them. But it would be so much. It would be so interesting and so good for OpenSim if other people could watch the videos and kind of get into the story too. Don't you think?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
I always said with filming stuff, and I don't do much actual filming myself nowadays, but it was sort of there was always this thing, even in Second Life, where how do you get people in there?
Yes.
And I was thought, well, if people see a film and it looks engrossing, they want to walk into it, then hopefully 1 in 10 of them will download the client and actually walk into it.
Yes.
Or even get you out of Second Life, don't you think?
Yes,
because so often people go, "Oh, OpenSim, there's nothing there."
Yes.
But even people in OpenSim say that. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Oh, there's nobody there. There's nothing there.
Right. But in Second Life, the first thing they want to do is put up big sim splitters and boxes over their parcels so that they don't see anybody, and they're all on top of each other. And then they say, "Oh, I can't stand how many people are here." And then they come to OpenSim and say, "There's nobody here." Well,
you can't have it both ways.
Exactly.
If you want to go shopping, go to the high street. If you want to have fun, explore the wilds.
Yes. So I mean, and then like another thing, and I do go to Second Life again a lot, and I do find people, and I do recruit people to come over, and so people are like, well, but then I'll have to leave Second Life, and what they have to understand is you can have both. You don't need to leave Second Life to come to OpenSim. You can have one viewer and bounce. We do it all the time ourselves.
Yeah.
When we're going to explore things, and
that's exactly right. And we've had a lot of people on this show Walter from Littlefield. He was on the show a month ago, and he was saying, "Well, when people say that to me, I say, well, bring your friends. You don't
Yeah.
have to come alone. Bring them with you, and you can have all this land instead of, as you say, being stuck on a quarter prim." Where maybe what your neighbors are doing is totally different to what you're doing, and it just looks
Right.
terrible. So,
But
and not
yeah,
spend all that money too. Wow.
but I had somebody that came from Second Life. I think I met this person and I was talking to her, and she came to Neverworld and she kept looking for a catch. So what is this?
Yeah.
And what am I going to have to pay? And she was really
Yeah.
actually very suspicious.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time for them to get used to the fact that, all this is free, all uploads are free. I mean, I know in other grids they prim count. Here we don't. I mean, like most of even on the continent, our parcels or the prim limits are 5,000 prim limit per parcel. And everybody's like, well, I'm going to use that in a minute. Well, nobody uses,
No.
nobody
Right.
uses that. But
Unless
they
it's
just
me, then I could use twice.
no.
Well, there has to be the exception that proves the rule. So.
And that's for a long time everything was primmy, as you were saying, and the mesh came in, and I make furniture. That's my thing, and I did have some really good teachers, and I tried to make my furniture pieces as the land impact to be really low. And it's not because we actually have to really count prim in OpenSim, but I think it's good to try to have a low land impact if you can.
Sure,
It's
good
not for everyone.
discipline.
Yeah. But and I just I had a plant that I had made a few years ago, and it was 62 prims, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to try to get it down. So, it does help with lag.
Your,
I mean,
your
I think,
stuff is very good, and yeah, very good, your stuff, Govega, and now it's available on the website as well, so
oh
it
yeah,
makes it
that's,
even easier.
Oh, that's right. Yes, we
yeah,
talked
I
about
want to
that on
talk
the
about
show a
that.
couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's finish going through this slideshow. So Nexus, this is this Lucidus or?
This is Lucidus.
Mhm.
It's the Chinatown area, because the place is
Mhm.
so big, I've divided it into different areas. So this is Chinatown. It was originally laid down by myself. Pasha and Andron did a lot of the dressing. We've also did some of the dressing in the little areas behind the cafes and things. We now have Chinatown, the Heights, the Red Light District, Exchange District. I've just put in Little Italy, and there's the Japanese Gardens. So there's just so much to see there.
Yeah, you can spend hours just in Lucidus. And then this Nexus is also part of Lucidus, I believe, or
Yeah, that's Japanese Gardens looking over into Lucidus Heights. I just redid the whole of that area.
just amazing. These builds are just so detailed. And
Yeah.
like I said, Nexus makes a lot of the buildings himself. He works in SketchUp actually.
Yeah. That was also the Pasha Memorial as well.
Yes,
Japanese
yes.
Gardens.
And this is the subterranean. Is this Stillwater Nexus or?
No, that's Lucidus again. That's some of the passages near the subway area, right at the bottom of the city.
Amazing. Now
This
this.
one's Stillwater.
So, yeah, I mean, just capturing the grittiness is just really an art. And Nexus and I both kind of love this genre. So, we've had a lot of fun. We actually have some, right close to here, I have Concord, Cambridge, and Abernathy, which are sims named after areas in Fallout, the game. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Massive role play area potential, and people can not just role play there, they can put down their own houses for free. I mean, how can you go better than that?
Yep.
Yeah, that's an excellent deal. Yeah. So,
This
what do you recommend if people? Because obviously, this is great. If someone has many hours to spend looking,
Mhm,
then they can get lost here and just really enjoy
mhm,
it. But if somebody does not have a huge amount of time, what
mhm.
would you recommend them to go see?
So when you come onto our welcome region, we have a travel Neverworld little teleport that you can click onto, and it has about, I want to say 20 or so of really well built, popular sims. They can click on any of those. If they want to come to the continent, they would start at the sim is called Silver Bell. That is the start sim for the continent. And then and the continent is actually, as far as like space, way far away from the rest of the, so you might not see it on the map when you first come into Welcome, but once you get to Silver Bell, once you get onto the continent, you will see all the connected regions. So Silver Bell, Thunder Snow, which is a vampire region. This is also
That's still
next.
water.
This is also Stillwater. This is a kind of a new resident, Sandy Beach, and this is her personal, and she was really excited to show some pictures. I mean, it's just a
It's
private sim
really
that she
nice.
has, peaceful, and we have a lot of water, and we have a lot of, I don't know how many, we probably have 1,000,000 kilometers of navigable water in Neverworld. So here's
Is
another,
all is all the water on your map navigable, or are there still areas that are, sort of off?
well, right, no, not the ones in between, but all the areas in the continent are,
Yeah.
all the areas in the keys are, but not in between. So my thing is, I know some grids want to have all their sims separate. I like the realism of being able to fly over from one sim to the other and
Yeah,
not to actually have to
absolutely.
me too.
teleport.
James and I
So
were talking about that earlier. In
Right,
fact,
right.
you don't want the walled islands as opposed to walled gardens. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So, I mean, I know it's, not that great for lag or whatever, but it's a small price to pay as far as I'm concerned to have the realism. Um, oh, where is this Nexus?
I
It's
don't know
moving.
that one.
It's
That's
moving.
new to
Oh,
me.
this might be, a few people, it might be Rafellos. A few people did submit some pictures. This is part of our welcome area,
Yes.
which is beautiful.
It's
The
wonderful.
welcome area is beautiful. The welcome area was built by Andron and Pasha and Nexus. This is
Crystal Wind.
Crystal Wind, which was Pasha's region, set up for winter. There's a Santa, like a Santa's workshop area where she has freebies. We also
Oh, it's
have lost.
amazing.
When you enter an area like that that is winter, is it surrounded by? Do you walk from like a very neutral thing through autumn into winter, or is it again? Is it something you just stumble into as a hard border?
We
So,
try to blend the
yeah.
Sims.
Yeah.
So we do have, to the northwest part of the continent right now, we do have winter sims there. Crystal Wind is one of them. We have Lost Notch, which is the big, beautiful. We have a ski jump there, and we have a lot of freebies, and we have a ski lift that you can ride, and a slalom.
If somebody basically feels like going into winter for an afternoon, they can teleport to that a region there, and then literally without teleporting again, they can wander around a winter
You can
landscape.
drive,
Yeah, or
um,
drive. It's fair enough.
yeah, you can drive, and we've actually not really having that many problems with sim crossings with cars. Um, Sometimes with boats, it's not as great as the cars, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I
which
bet.
I'm hoping to find somebody who can kind of like make our scripting a little better for the boats. But then we have the big regions like Mariners Mariners Bay is an 8x8 island and water region, and there's no sim crossings there. The Keys is, like I said, 11x11. There's no sim crossings till you get to the north part, to the continent. So this is actually part of Miami, and most of Miami was designed by Nexus a few years ago. And like I said, we expanded it with parcels recently.
Pasha did the plants. Yeah.
Yes. But you could see in the background, the building, the yellow and aqua building is Nexus made. And what he'll do is when we say we want it to be this theme, he'll go and he'll do research, if he's not familiar with that architecture. This is just an amazing sculpture, little intersection of the road that Nexus put together. I mean, Nexus is just phenomenal. I don't even think he's human.
Well, I didn't actually build that statue, but I put the styling of it around. Yeah.
Of course he's human. He's just English.
Okay, I should know better. This is, I believe, this is part of Thunder Snow, which is our vampire region, which was put together by Aris Hollistar, another great scripter. And I think
that's
this
part
is
of the continent.
Yes, that's Hazelwood, which we have. So with the continent, we have the free parcels, and it's a mixed use. We're not going to say you can't have this or that. So mixed use. You can have commercial buildings, you can have housing, and they are mixed together just like it is in real life. So.
And there we are, by the look of it.
That's great.
On the other screen here, I've also got the at your actual website. There's not lots of illustration here, but there is a section where you're offering free land for residents.
Yep.
And actually, you do make the point that most of these places are 10,000 meters with huge prim allowances. It would cost you $60 a month in Second Life, but it's free in Neverworld. So there's a good comparison, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned Mariners Bay. These pictures don't blow up for me, I'm afraid. But I loaded this because it gives some idea of what people can do.
Yeah, Mariners Bay is just an amazing, and it's all our free parcel regions. And one thing that we do on almost all of our parcels that not many other grids do is we allow anybody from any grid. It's not just for Neverworld residents. So we allow people who don't have a home for whatever reason. Maybe they have a home grid that can't, and it costs money for parcels there, and they really can't afford it. I don't like anybody being homeless, so they can come to Neverworld. The only downside to having a parcel in Neverworld is you're not going to be able to set home, of course, because it's not your home grid. But then sometimes people actually do end up making a Neverworld account because they want to be, on Neverworld full time, but we never. Yeah.
If people have a home somewhere, they normally make that their own grid. I mean, it just makes sense. You want to be
right.
The same thing.
It's a nice transition stage, though, that you offer them the chance to do that, and then they can make their own mind up whether they like it or not, whether it's the right fit for them. I like that idea.
And, we don't put pressure on anybody. It's not like, oh, you can only have a free parcel here without a Neverworld account for a month or whatever. I mean, I've had people who've been, non-native parcel owners for years. So, yeah, I mean, we're there every day. We spend more time in virtual than in real life, probably.
Yeah. We do try to be available.
It's a labor of love, clearly. Yeah, it's a labor of love, and it shows in all the different styles that you have going on there, and the detail of each style, because that's not easy to accomplish too, is it? To have the realistic places, but then the more fantasy style builds as well. Excellent.
Before we move on to our other sort of final bit of the program, I've already played some of the clips here, but the first clip here, which is about 4 minutes, if I'm right, it's the only one I haven't shown yet. This actually is your oh god, what was the starting point? The bay?
Mariners Bay, or
No, no. I think you'll know where we are when it plays.
it,
So let's get it going.
it looks like Miami to me, but I could
Miami.
be
That's what. Yeah, that's what.
okay.
Miami. Sorry, Miami Beach. Terrible with these locations. Yeah. So this is just this was where I started because I went to the map. I saw Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And I've
Mm-hmm.
also seen your slideshow, so I thought, oh, Miami's a place to cue in on. So this is where I started in Miami. So it's about 4 minutes of this. You can tell us what's going on here if you can follow. Slow motion version of.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So all these buildings, Nexus built a few years ago, actually, they're all Art Deco style, like Miami Beach. But, you know,
I
like
think it was
many
one
of,
of the first things I built on the grid. Yeah.
yep. And we're always, you know, we're updating things, and Nexus had roads that he had made in 2017, I think, and he just redid all of them. That's Orbit City, actually.
That is curious. It's hanging out by
Yes, the
very
clouds.
contradictory. Yeah.
But it's a whole different, yeah, but we made Jetson style housing, and I made Jetson style furniture, futuristic, and I have a Orbitron mall there that has all space related. That big building there in the background floating is a mall with all space related content. And of course, everything is free. So
Oh, even better. Yeah.
yeah,
Do you
we
have
share
any? Do you
everything.
have any? Do you have any money system or anything else that you use on the
Um,
grid?
okay, so that's a good
It.
question. So we had Podex, and then we switched to Globits.
Right.
And then when Globits had when they were down for a month or so, and they were not really communicating with anybody, and it was very upsetting to us because, you know, we had people invested in money there. So
Yeah.
we switched back to Podex, and then we went to Podex Hypergrid, and which we have right now, but our money system is currently being redone. So, but we do have a money system. We don't really use it that much because everything's free. The only reason really I like to have a money system is if we do have DJs or performers, I like them to get tipped.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, that's really the only reason. We don't really sell anything on the grid. Everything's free. So,
Great.
and we create every day and we give away every day for free. So if you're looking
Yeah, it's good to have the option, isn't it, with the money? I
is.
agree. It
Yes,
doesn't
I
hurt,
mean,
does it?
yeah. Mhm.
I mean, if somebody wanted to come in and set up a shop and charge of things, we're okay with that. But equally, we also give away our stuff for free. So the option is
I must
there.
admit, on. I don't miss on Neverworld seeing that Globits pop-up window every single time you come on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just,
And
yeah.
listen, no offense
yeah.
to Globits, but if only there was a button that said "Don't show me this message anymore," I
There
would
is
love them a lot
actually,
more.
when you set it
Really?
up, you can set up not to have that, that's like a welcome message and reminding you to
But you
Gosh,
go
don't. You
get,
it
don't.
drives you
renew.
crazy.
But
Yeah, you can actually,
you have to sign up to get that facility.
you know,
Do
Globits,
you?
Yeah.
I
Good
find
Lord.
Globits entirely like too complicated. I mean, you have to, for a merchant and also even just for a person, you know, just find it. And I don't really like the fact that anytime I've had a question, I never get an answer from them. That's just,
I have
it's
no
not.
experience with them except for that pop-up window. I can't say anything but that.
I think I remember interviewing Chris Colosi a few times at the beginning of it all, but I'm not even aware of his presence anymore, even though the service is running. So
So, you know, you know, I pretty much, the servers and stuff I pretty much pay for on my own, but We do rent regions, and that's where we do almost break even, I want to say, with that. And that's really the only, and that's all done through PayPal. So that's really the only money that we have to worry about on the grid is just if somebody, and of course, again, that's optional. People can have a parcel that's almost the size of a region for free. So it really depends, what people are looking for. Some people definitely, they want the privacy and whatever. Also, with the self-hosting, they can have as many regions as they like for free. And I've had people who have self-hosted regions for years, on their own server or computer. So we're not really in it at all to make money.
Yeah,
So
there's so many different
But it's
options. You can have a region we can host a region on the grid, and it's very, very cheap. You can host it yourself, or you can have a free parcel. And if all these different options give the ability to do whatever you want, really, on the grid. It's
yeah,
really flexible.
And another strength I think you guys have, if I'm not mistaken, is that you're located in different parts of the world. So
we are.
you kind of that must be hell when you need to have a meeting, but it must be great if people have questions. 'Cause,
It is.
that's one of the things that often happens in European grids, that it's really only active and busy for just a few hours in what is the evening in Europe, and then
Yeah.
the rest of the hours of the day it's pretty dead. There's not really anybody about. So I think that must be very attractive too to your residents, knowing that you have different people on at different times. Is that true?
Yes, that's very true. I mean, we have our administrators come from all over the world. We have Eris, who's in Australia. So Eris takes my night shift. So,
Yes.
basically, it's hard for us to sometimes connect in world because he's sleeping or I'm sleeping. But, then you have the people on the west coast of America, like Nexus, who's there for part of the time up when Eris is up. So yeah, we do cover that. That's a really good point. And I'm really happy that we can cover pretty much like any time during the day or night. There's always somebody who can help you. We do have, by the way, an administrators board on the welcome if anybody needs, help or assistance. But
I
we
think, I don't want to sound rude, but I think we must be entering our last quarter of an hour. So need to. James has got the clock on. I get nervous. The bell's going to go off.
okay. Well, if
Uh-oh.
I just really fast wanted to
Yeah.
mention one thing, and that's
Yeah.
our marketplace that we have online.
Yeah.
That's on the website. We have two marketplaces. One is for Hypergrid only, and then one is for members of Neverworld. So it's not like a Kitely marketplace where it gets downloaded right to the grid yet. We're hoping to get to that point, but right now it's just you can download items with the textures and whatever, and then upload it to whatever grid you want. It doesn't have to necessarily have to stay in Neverworld. So that's something new that we're really excited about, and we're trying to stock up our content so that everybody can get it, and you don't have to go in World to get some stuff. So
All right. Lovely.
that's it. Check that out.
You could even upload it to SL. We don't have a problem with that.
Yes. If you want to pay the cost of uploading
Yeah, that's true.
200 Linden for a few textures. So
Yeah. No comparison, really, is it? Oops.
no.
Right. So we'll round up a little bit at the end, but for the moment, Thirza and I will, particularly Thirza, we're going to move back to the roundup from this week's Hypergrid Safari. I'm actually going in a different order at the moment. I'm going to go to I've loaded the webpage here, Hypergrid Safari blog. Well, actually, it's hgsafari.blogspot.com. And the first stop we did, oh, look, James Atlloud is the first to talk here, too. We were running late.
So verbose.
There's a perfect timing. But, more to the point, we're going to look at the pictures. So there's a...
Yes, so this is the region Atlantis. We went to Bridgemere Grid, And Harry Thor is the guy who runs that grid. It's an Outworlds grid. It works really well. We really didn't have any problems with lag, even though there were, how many were we? 15, 20, something like that. Big group.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right sky or not. I got confused in here.
It-
Because I'm using a Firestorm viewer, and I was seeing a completely different sky that was a Saturn in the sky, and but I was told no, we should be on the moon of Jupiter. So I was able to find the moon of Jupiter on a different grid, and anyway, so here we are, and it's by
looks lovely anyway.
Amara Talon. She built this. Talon, rather, as sadly she was not able to be with us. A super builder, she's so talented, but she was at work. So Harry, who was able to be off work, he was with us, and he showed us all the way around. They've known each other for years. I think they were in Inworlds originally, back in the day. So there's Harry right there.
Yeah.
And it's based on the ideas of Atlantis. Really interesting grid. Altogether, but these sims are beautiful, and it's great the way that the contiguous sims kind of follow the same theme or same look, if not exactly the same theme. So I really enjoyed it. It was quite a run, I'm going to say, because there was a lot to see. But I thought Harry did really well. He kept stopping so that we could catch up with him and showing us all the main points. There's always a problem on the safari. People always have way more to show us than we have time to see. There's a man sitting on a seahorse.
The master of the
That's nice.
I tried.
There's a lot of random sitting down happens. So just some very beautiful things. Some things, if you do a lot of hypergridding, you see them in different contexts, but you see the same kind of things over and over again. On this sim, I was really impressed. There were many quite unusual items and very pretty things, and just very beautifully laid out. So here we are at the temple, the Atlantean temple. There was these cool Atlantean thrones with a cat sitting on them. Here's a man bothering a fairy. Oh, James,
No
get
bother.
everywhere.
No bother.
Oh, that's funny.
So, but I must say, Harry was brilliant, because I know he was a bit nervous about showing. Obviously, when
He
you
did
show
great.
somebody else's sim, that doesn't, it's not a great
Okay,
feeling.
good band
But
name,
he
wouldn't
did a
it?
really good job.
That would make a good band name, Harry and the Fairies.
Yeah, Harry and the Fairy could be.
Got that ring to it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So anyway,
he's
just there
popping
was
up
just so many
everywhere.
different items, and the as usual, the blog gives you mostly gives you the chat that happened while we were there. I kind of edit some of it out, because otherwise there's a lot of hellos and so forth and chat bots going off and stuff like that, which is distracting. But if you read the blog, you can kind of, it's as if you were there, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. That's a great summary.
Just
That's a whole
fascinating.
area. Yeah.
And yes, so it's on several levels. So you go, first of all, you see we saw the underwater section, and there was the land section, and then we went to the sky, and then we went even higher in the sky. So she's managed to fit quite a lot on a smallish space. It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And there's a man dancing. And there's two other guys. That's Audrey and Frank,
Hey,
just
Frank.
sitting there looking at us like, what in the world are you doing?
Beautiful.
You can tell there, actually, the background, that is the Jupiter one, and presumably, if you're in there, the background you can see is that. But I didn't.
I give up. I shouldn't have changed my Firestorm viewer, because many strange things happened. And the usual group photograph that somebody's facing the wrong way again. I'm not going to name any names. This is not something I'm familiar with. Oh, they were all
No,
up.
this is video I took at the same.
Oh, right.
basically. So we got your pictures and about 3 minutes.
Yes, I think Star went back the next day, and she was able to actually meet up with Amara, which I always love that when that happens, because the whole point of the safari is that we shouldn't just visit once. This is just a taster visit, and then people should go back on their own and explore and, make new connections, meet new people. And she was able to be there when Star was able to be there when Amara was online, so they were able to have a chat, and she's got to see even more things that we certainly didn't see during our tour because there just wasn't time. So really, that's the point. I mean, we really only have about 50 minutes of useful time between the teleports and so forth, and all the saying hello and so forth. So clearly, not even just a regular sized sim. You're not going to see every single piece of it, and it's a blur if we try to do that. How many times have we been on Safari and people show us absolutely everything, and you're at the end of it, you say, I don't know, I don't know what happened there. So it's much better to just focus on a few things to show us those. And that's exactly what Harry did.
That's what I'm doing with the film at the moment. I'm skipping ahead so we don't run out of time. But this, because on the ground it's, I think it may be, let's move on. Yeah, because I got some of the, it's probably here we end up getting to the underwater bits. There we are. Yeah. So I actually did that. There was nobody here because I went down the wrong way into the ocean. I was busy filming on the other end of the so we met at the halfway point. But this is nice. You just suddenly you find a little archway and you've got some steps, and I'm heading up as you can see. But elsewhere people are heading down.
Yes, and now I've got into the habit of trying to say to the guide, for goodness sake, don't worry what Mal is doing, because they worry about you, Mal. They're like, where is Mal? Why isn't he responding to me? I'm calling Mal. I'm like, just nothing. Don't even think about Mal. Just focus on yourself.
I come out of camera mode and it's 100.
If you're going to worry about what Mal is doing, between James sitting on things he's not supposed to sit on and Mal just not answering you, it's a zoo.
This is what I was doing. I can't.
You're all warned.
Yep.
If you can't cope with those two guys, don't invite the safari.
Oh, that's.
And I'm really annoying, so between the three of us, it's a nightmare, really.
We're asking a lot. That's right.
Yeah, we really are.
Oh, here, this is the underwater whiskey a lot, as it were. So it's always lovely to look at underwater. But...
So the usual safari regulars, we got Frank there in the top hat, and Art, and Star, and so we usually, I guess, about 15 of us. If you want to say 20, and some make some weeks and don't make other weeks. It's a lovely group. I have to really thank everybody for coming along week after week and always asking interesting questions. And just animating the whole event, because it would be really dull if people just cammed and stayed silent. So it's always fun to read your comments, and especially when I get to read it back the next day. Many times I've missed some of the jokes, so it's a fun experience even for me the next day when I'm sorting out the blog. So appreciate you all very much.
Have you ever been on, I know Thirza asked you earlier, Govega, but have you ever been on the safaris? I know you're not regular, but...
She's hosted it.
Yeah, I have, and we've hosted a couple on Neverworld, yep.
Yeah.
Lots of fun.
Yeah, we try and encourage our hosts to come on safari at least once, because you do. I really believe you learn a lot from other people's mistakes, really, in a way, because it's a different perspective if you're the host, obviously,
right.
Because you realize how.
Oh, that was great.
How sort of you lose your bearings when you're on somebody else's sim. You don't know what really you're looking at. You've got a kind of idea. It's not quite all rezzing yet, and then the person suddenly rushes off. You're like, what in the world is happening? And especially when you're trying to type and you're trying to write and you're trying to run. So it does help to come on safari a couple of times, because it gives you more kind of empathy for the tourists.
I think what you say is really true, though, about just trying to concentrate on one part instead of all of them at once. And I think that's really good
Yeah, it's just,
information.
I mean, we could come back many, many times. There's no reason why we have to do one safari and try and see everything in one go.
On
That's
Neverworld.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
we
we
have a
could
whole
come back
story.
every season. That's not a
Yeah.
problem. We're happy
Yeah,
to.
yeah, and we're happy to have you guys.
Ah, now this is the point. Oh, right, okay. This wasn't so
That's a
clear.
good shot. Wow, look at that. You got the whole
Yeah,
thing.
you could actually go. You could actually go up into this thing separately.
I wondered about that. Was that,
Yeah,
oh, so that
I
was
mean,
a walkway. I wondered about that.
this is still above the ground kind of thing, as opposed
Sure.
to up in the sky. Oh, right. This is probably. Yeah, this is one of the. Oh,
Oh, I
this is
think I
yeah.
missed that bit.
This is the bit in the viewing area that you just saw at the end.
Wow,
Of
that's pretty.
right?
That's cool.
Yeah, so I found my way
Yeah,
up
she's a
here.
great builder.
Yeah, and then well, just coming around up here. So yeah, yeah, I stumbled upon it. I don't actually know how I ended up there, but
We're going to have to move on, Mal, because any minute now that bell's going to ring.
yeah. Well,
10 seconds.
Oh no.
I'm
We've
feeling
got,
it.
we got
I'm
the idea.
feeling it.
It's my fault for I'm not allowed for the full 15 minutes at the end.
You're not allowed, no.
Yeah.
You might
Okay.
hear
Well,
the
that's what it's
ticking,
like out.
ticking.
That is
ticking.
very cool, though. I'm
James,
loving the film.
James, I've got the message. I don't need a heart attack. I will have it. I'm hurrying up now. But,
Anyway, congratulations to Marathon for the way she made this build, because it really is lovely. She's a great
Right.
girl.
This
Here we
one I-
are.
this
So this
one I
is
think-
part 2.
yeah, this is part 2. I didn't quite get much. This is the burn.
Why are you molesting Nora in that piece of film?
No, the cameras might be.
I tell you,
Wet-
that woman
well,
puts up with a lot.
Maybe I had a wet willy. Oh, gosh.
So yeah, this is Wet Willie's and Open Sim. I mean, I know it in Second Life.
Who invited that
Oh,
one?
These are the burners, Govega, that have come
Yeah.
from Second Life, and they've all decided to come and live in Open Sim. I tell you, that man
Really?
is molesting her.
Yeah.
Yes, so they moved into Groovyverse gradually,
Uh-huh.
and so they're basically redoing all the burn builds. So there's loads to see. And again, it was they were very good because they only showed us a bit, which was ideal for us.
there's so much.
And
yeah.
so they showed us the NorCal build, and then the second part was with the train. Do you remember that train, James?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Lord, the train.
That last clip was live evidence of me crashing. But yes, here's the very last clip. This is the train. That is not Thirza. Where is?
Yeah, so you could either dance or you could sit on the train, and it took us into the desert,
Nice.
which was pretty
Three
cool.
trains,
Yeah.
when they collided, they've moved through each other. That was
Around the
weird.
burning
So
village.
Yuka Godell was there, Grid Nomad was there, Dr. Dave did a lot of the explanations, Herbie was there, there's a bunch of people there, and they explained how they've been kind of putting this together gradually.
Yep.
Yeah, so we called it Safari Meets the Man. The man is not Dr. Dave, even though he's in the front of this photo. The man is the Burning Man. Yeah, and so
Cool.
if you... There's Grid Nomad. I didn't get a very good picture of Yuka because I was laughing too much.
There we go. Okay, well that's it.
So
Yeah.
at the very end, you should see a GIF that shows the Burning Man, I guess.
I know there's only 2 on that page. Oh, well, unless there's another way of.
What do you mean there's only 2?
Well,
Oh, because you haven't hit read more, that's why.
oh, read more. Oh,
There we go. Right there.
okay. Sorry, that's
Boom.
me trying to be quick. Right. Okay. So, yeah, here we go. Right. So.
So that's probably not the right sky either, I'm going to guess.
It looks good that it's moving. It makes
I
sense.
just went with it. I'm just going to be zen. Everybody can
We're like
complain
we're
afterwards.
frozen in time as the sky moves past us. Yeah. Oh, and the wind.
Yeah. So and of course yeah, that was fun. It's me and Nara doing the Thelma and Louise
Nice.
thing. I don't know who that was flying after us. Probably about
Following
Brad Pitt. I'm going to say.
A stalker or something.
I'm hoping it's Brad Pitt, but
Yeah.
All right.
I may be unlucky then. So there's loads of builds there. If you are interested in being part of the burner thing, the best thing is probably to contact Yuka or Dr. Dave over on Groovyverse. This is the Hawaii build that they have. You could sail out to Hawaii from the coast of California. So similar to what you guys have in a way. It's very, very big. It's huge.
By the look of it.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be
Oh,
Diamond
this is
Head.
back in that Wet Willy bar.
I'm afraid so.
Yeah.
Yes, because they're going to do a bunch of music events, and this is our attempt at a group photo, which didn't really work. But that's Yuka right in the middle. Yeah, I'm turning the wrong way even.
I think I was late for that. Oh,
And there's a train. It was hilarious.
move.
Especially when the other train goes through you.
And like dancing on top of it as well.
So if you've never been to see these builds, it's a fun thing to do. And just kind of to contrast and compare with you guys' builds, I should think.
Oh, there you go.
And
interesting.
I know I'm friends with Hyacinth, and
She's a great girl. And
She is.
honestly,
She's a
the
great
Sims
girl.
works. Considering, how many we were, and we were just doing all kinds of stuff, the Sims really performed very, very well. It was great.
she's very technical. She really knows her stuff.
She's on it. Yeah, she is. So there was a robot's town, and then apparently that robot was in Second
It's
Life
good to see
before.
the
And then
burning
we this is where we went. We went to see the Burning Man.
The player,
Cool.
where you've got that whole flat area that really looks like
Yes.
a player.
It's
This is
Classic,
Perfect.
desert. And then he started to smoke. Not sure what he was smoking, but and then he was on fire.
Wow.
Oh, I missed this completely.
Well, because we went over time, to be honest with you, because we kind of wasted a lot of time trying to get that on the train because we kept
Yes.
messing up. Not they didn't, the Safarians did. And actually, at the end, the whole thing collapsed. So turned to ashes. So it's
cool.
really, it's
That's
worth going to
cool.
see that. Anyway, that's it. That's the story.
right.
Are we still in
okay.
time?
Right, yeah, well, we've sort of covered just about everything. I don't think we're too much over time. I've got a couple of other clips here, but I'm going to save them for another week. They're just landscape shots, including a couple of Summer Moon AOR and Winter's Edge is another AOR. Don't know how this is 2.5 minutes. It's actually called Wonder Without This, so we might go out with that. But let's round up. Let's round up first. Yeah. That's it. That's it. Let's round up.
That's
instead.
it. Goodbye.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go because we have been mercifully saved from the bell, but we haven't been saved by the bell. If you see what I mean.
Not yet.
Yeah, exactly. So, as usual, I'd like to thank James for handling, sorry, all the text background here. Thank you, James.
Yep.
And
Thank you so much for having us. It was really an honor.
I'm coming to you. Hang on. I was waiting for James to say, "You're welcome."
I did.
Okay.
The nameless one.
Very low volume. Okay, thanks also to my regular co-host, Thirza Ember, wonderful as ever.
I apologize for everything.
Right, well, fair enough. And thank you to our guests from Neverworld Grid. Nexus Storm. Oh, now mine's going.
You got it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you to Govega too.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
It's
thank
really
you
an
for having
honor.
us.
You were brilliant, guys. Thank you
Yeah,
for being
thanks.
on the show.
Now back to work, everybody.
Right. So it's never normally this chaotic at the end. I'll tell you what, we are actually out of here, but there's one clip. This comes from OpenSim 2. Wonder with Alice it's called. So I'm just going to play that to take us out. I won't be back. I'll sign out, play this, and then James is going to do the end titles at the end of it. So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for being here, and we will return next week. In the meantime, I wish you all a very good morning, a very good afternoon, a very good evening, and a very good tomorrow, depending on wherever and whenever you are. And we're out of here, but after this.
Thank you.
Bye.
So I will definitely try to come to your hypergrid safari either this week or next.